On this episode of the Layover Live, Adam stops by, Samantha stops by, Greg Evans stops by to talk ADA compliance, to talk SEO and content, to talk trends for 2019.
The Layover Live? More like the Layover sucks.
Doing the robot. You guys are talking about bots.
On this episode of the Layover Live, we're in it. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 75 of the Layover Live. I'm Jason Swick, VP of Digital Marketing, and normally each week we bring you some digital marketing news with a top article, but we're going to do something just a little bit different this week.
Yeah, that's right, Jason. And I'm Grant Stoll, Strategic Analyst. And this week, instead of taking you through an article and giving you the best advice of how it can help destination marketers, whether it's be better at SEO, CRO, content marketing, we're actually going to be recording this show live with two very special guests who will be joining us momentarily for our panel discussion, and we'll be sending this out as the Layover Live on this Thursday's episode.
Yeah, so really exciting. But before we get to that, Grant, I want to take a moment to reflect a little bit on where the Layover has been and where we're going. Now, the goal of the Layover has always been to bring you, DMOs, the top digital news each and every week. Anything from content marketing to CRO and SEO, as Grant mentioned. And we've been doing this now for 75 episodes. That's 75 weeks we've been bringing content to you, really since the fall of 2017. So we're coming up on 2 years.
And Jason, really as part of that, I know that we've grown and we've evolved. And so kind of as our need for a fresh look and feel to kind of bring the Layover up to date with the current best marketing trends and practices as well. So we're actually really excited to announce a whole new creative look that starts this week. From email, social media, YouTube, you name it, even the weekly show, we'll have a brand new look and feel that we're going to be sending out. So you're all part of the brand new brand relaunch. So super excited.
Yeah, super excited there too, yes. That's a good point, Grant. And really, I think it goes without mention that all of this work each and every week takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So I really want to give a huge thanks to everybody on the team of digital experts that we work with each and every week who help us out with the show. Also, the Simpleview marketing team, which also has a big play in everything that we do each and every week. So thank you all as well, and they probably deserve a round of applause.
Let's give them a round of applause.
So, thank you. All right.
Cool. Well, Jason, without further ado, let's bring up our guests and get the show on the way.
Let's do it. It's about to get real. Okay. All right, first guest. Super excited about having this person on the stage with us. If you are anywhere in this space, you know this person. This is Katie Cook. Katie is the Director of Digital Marketing with the Austin Convention and Visitors Bureau. She oversees all of the digital marketing strategy, the organization's website, their social media campaigns, and search engine marketing. They've launched a new site recently, which is pretty cool, right? And Katie is also active in the digital marketing community. She speaks regularly, both on the local side and the national side. She serves on the U.S. Travel Association's Destinations Council and the Advisory Board for eTourism Summit, and is also a member of Women in Digital. Katie also holds a degree in Mass Communications and Public Relations from Texas State University. So Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
Excited to be here.
Super excited. First DMO client on the show,
right.
yes.
And then our second guest is Marissa Willman, the Director of Digital Marketing from the Greater Palm Springs CVB. And Marissa oversees the CVB's digital marketing strategy, which includes digital media, social media, website development, content marketing, email marketing, and SEO, so it is no small task whatsoever. Prior to joining the Greater Palm Springs CVB, Marissa was a freelance travel writer for outlets including USA Today, Forbes, Travel Channel, and The Telegraph. Marissa holds a BA in Communications and Print Journalism from California State University, Fullerton, and was named CalTravel's 30 and Under Emerging Leaders in 2018. So, welcome Marissa Willman to the stage.
Marissa, come on in. All right. So we're excited. So when we put this program together and we talked about wanting to do a session here at Summit for all of you, what we want to do is bring something of value naturally. That's what we do with the Layover each and every week. And so one thing that we wanted to talk about was some of the trends that are happening in the industry and how some of the leaders in the community are taking advantage and capitalizing on a lot of those trends. So we're going to talk about those. We have some really, really good questions. Both of these CVBs up here are doing some amazing stuff with digital marketing. So I'm super excited for them to share some of their stories up here. And then we're also going to leave some time at the end for some questions. So as we start to go through this, please start to craft your questions. We'd love to hear from you, and our panelists can help answer those. or Grant and I and the team are here as well to help answer those. So let's get started with number one. And it's been the theme really of really the summit so far. If you guys attended a lot of the sessions this morning, you saw Ryan kick things off talking about data, talking about big data. Aaron Nissen then, it was really, really nice to get a lot of the data leaders that are in the space coming in and talking a lot about what's happening as it relates to data. And data can be really overwhelming. So the first question for you guys is naturally around big data. So big data has really been a buzzword for so long, yet it seems that DMOs are often challenged to take action with the data that they have. And when we talk about big data, to interpret that data often takes big talent and big teams to be able to do that. This includes also how we use data to measure success. I think the challenge for DMOs is going to be having to embrace these new consumer behaviors and new methods to measure success. Ideally, these new ways of measurement lead to propping up areas on your marketing that are truly driving an impact to your destination and your overall visitor economy. And then finding those gaps and constructing models to fill those gaps. Nowadays, with a lot of the metrics that we measure success with, current top of funnel metrics don't get it done anymore alone. So we have to look at things a little differently. So Katie, my first question is going to go to you on the data side of things as we talk about this. How are you then at Austin using big data to make better marketing decisions and boost engagement with your overall audience?
All right.
All right.
This working?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at Visit Austin, we use a lot of partners, including all the ones that we've been hearing from this week, Dara, Arrivalist, Sojourn on the media spend, that actually provides the data in terms of like what is working. So we pretty much pixel everything we possibly can. Pixel everything is my advice to everyone.
I love it.
Really, these tools help us see what we have pixeled, how they're working, where people are coming from, and that allows us then to refine, our strategy and over time. So that's kind of where we are now, and I feel like this is a very kind of still new area, I think, for our industry to really be kind of figuring out what we should be measuring, what's important. But it's not all about click-through rate anymore. With these tools, you can really see what's actually driving people to your destination.
Yeah, it is. And it helps to paint more of a clearer picture of the overall performance, right?
Right.
And same thing to you then, Marissa. What are you guys doing in Palm Springs?
We also pixel everything.
Yep, okay.
We're just coming up on our first year with Adara, and with how robust our media plan, especially on the digital side, has become over the past few years, it was no longer an option to maybe have data. We had to incorporate Adara. And what we found actually over this last year was that we had some pieces of our media plan that were on the chopping block. And we felt very strongly, because we were measuring by those KPIs like click-throughs and impressions, and we thought, well, this just isn't working. And as soon as we stuck a pixel on it, we found that one vendor that was on the chopping block was actually our top performer. So now the Adara truly informs our media plan. It helps us understand where in the funnel a certain vendor may sit. Maybe they are just impression driven, maybe they are driving conversions, but without that data, you can't make informed decisions.
Yeah, and Marissa, you make a really good point there. It's something we actually see quite common with a lot of the campaigns that we do as well, and I'm sure a lot of you out here see the same issues, is oftentimes if we just look at that surface level data, it doesn't really paint the whole picture. We have to be really careful. It often takes looking at that surface level data to kind of know, do I go down path A, should I go down path B, and then start overturning things and taking a look at what's really happening and getting that deeper dive into it. We often see this, and we've seen this with a campaign we ran earlier with this year with Salt Lake, where a lot of those kind of top of funnel metrics were performing really well, yet the campaign that actually had a higher cost per click and actually a slightly lower CTR was actually performing best when it came to desired actions that we wanted them to complete on the website. So I like that idea of kind of peeling back the surface and digging a little deeper into the data.
Yeah, and Marissa, I guess, kind of dovetailing off that, beyond just marketing effectiveness, how is using some of these other tools that destinations have at their disposal change, not necessarily your overall marketing plan, but even kind of your destination marketing strategy as a whole?
Sure. So a few years ago, we went through the whole visitor intercept study, research, and all of that was distilled into what is now our destination development plan. That DDP has identified where are the markets we need to focus on, what are the priorities. So for us, we know very much we need to focus on airlift, we need to focus on direct flights. Our pillars, we know that they are health and wellness, outdoor adventure, and arts and culture. So every piece of marketing that we do ties back into that destination development plan. And then on top of that, we use STR. On top of that, we're using AirDNA now because vacation rentals are here to stay. So we've learned that just because occupancy may be down in our STR report does not mean that visitation is down, because we're seeing more and more people staying in vacation rentals. Actually, last week, we just pulled our Adara data, which shows us bookings on hotels and flights. We pulled that for January and February, and we were talking about this yesterday. We actually saw that Austin was our #7 origin market for flights into Palm Springs, and that is not a destination where we do any marketing.
It's all the parties that Katie goes on.
I mean, but
Big travel.
it may be, we track people for 60 days, so it may be that they were booking for Coachella. These are two destinations known for live music events. But we get data from a lot of different sources because you have to weave it together. I can't go to my leadership and say, okay, we need to start marketing in Austin, because we don't know the full story. We need to track this for a little bit longer, see if it's beyond just a Coachella season. We can start weaving in things like Visa View, and we can see, well, hey, are visitors from Austin staying longer and spending more, and they're already coming without a direct flight? Then we have all the data to say, okay, we need a strategy in Austin.
Gotcha. And Katie, I guess same question to you as well. Yeah, how has your marketing strategy overall changed with some of these big data tools that we have now?
Yeah, so with our arrivals data that we got, when we signed on with them, they actually were able to go back about 9 months of arrivals to Austin. So it was in the hundreds of thousands that we had as a sample size, which was amazing. And we learned a lot of things with that we did not know. And one of those examples was markets that we had never done any paid media or really much campaigns or even trade shows or anything in, Miami and DC. People were arriving in large numbers to Austin, and so we now are doing some test advertising to those markets to see if we can drive that even more, because that interest is already there. So that's one example. We're also using Arrivalist, and Matt Clement from Arrivalist mentioned it earlier. We're actually using it on the advocacy and destination development side of things, because we are able to see down to 30 feet radius. We can pinpoint POIs in the city that we want to be tracking arrivals to, and the path of an individual. It's anonymized, so you don't know who they are, but the individual, where they're coming from, and then where they're going in the city, how long they're spending. So it's very powerful stuff, and I feel like this area of our industry is really new. And I think I said to you guys on the phone, I feel like where we were for social media for DMOs in 08, 09, which some of you guys were too young to remember that.
Like, oh, we're not getting into
but
that.
that was a very new area, and I think that's where we are with this attribution, and I think it's just going to change and get better and better.
Yeah, and you make some good points there. I want to comment on as well too, for both of you. I think talking about how it's informing our marketing strategy, but also other areas of economic development or whatever it may be. I think that's a really cool use of some of this data as well. Or it gives you the power to go help tell your story to your stakeholders. And then Marissa, what you're talking about too, how you were, hey, we look at multiple sources, right? So we get one source, okay, let's verify that over here. Let's use this in a different way. So I think, the days of just looking at Google Analytics and that was everything to everybody has changed. I think the correlations between this data is something that sounds like both of you are doing, and I see more of that moving forward. It's how we're working those things together. Yeah.
So I think looking at data as well, like we mentioned, helps us uncover new audiences, what's working for you, but also can help uncover more new marketing opportunities as well. And I think we've seen a shift that's moving away from the mass marketing, like we were saying, kind of the spray and pray approach, where we're looking at the number of impressions. We're now kind of moving more into niche marketing and more targeted campaigns, focusing on specific audiences and kind of the more lower funnel metrics. So Katie, this question's for you. Are you doing any niche marketing right now? And kind of if so, what's your strategy and approach to creating content and reaching these smaller audiences?
We definitely are doing niche targeting, but I wanted to kind of talk about our paid media plan as a whole, because it is pretty niche. We've really defined what our audience is. We call it the curious urban traveler. So it's kind of a younger audience that prefers experiences over things. They're really adventurous. So we have kind of defined that. And then when we're doing our paid media, we're able to target really specific types of audiences. And then we can obviously change it, like when we're talking about paid social and we're talking about content marketing. We can target based on what the content is that we're promoting, and so it does change a bit. But that's really specific audience we're finding a lot of success from. Versus like you said, the what is it? Spray
and pray.
Yeah, we're not, yeah. I feel like we're past that as marketers because we have all these tools that allow us to really target.
Yeah, which is good. I think having that data now allows us to be able to micro target a lot of these groups, which is great. And then unearth that data. And Marissa, you guys are doing some pretty cool stuff in Palm Springs too.
Yeah, I would say in 2019, there's no excuse for spray and pray strategy. There's just
your new theme.
It's a fun thing.
It sounds like a T-shirt.
But there are still DMOs out there that, for bandwidth or budget reasons are having to do that. But there is so much data available, even if you can't partner yet with an Adara or an Arrivalist, just weaving together all of the native analytics that you're getting. But we're using everything that we've collected to launch a summer campaign that is very niche targeted. So in summer, we know that it's our need period. We also know that drive markets are our bread and butter during summer. And we're going back to those pillars of like health and wellness, outdoor adventure. We know people want to come to the destination to relax.
Right.
So we're creating 2 summer campaigns to focus on local audiences, Southern California. We're bringing in influencers because we wanted to leverage their audiences. They've got the right niche audiences. And so however you may feel about influencer marketing, we see it as we need to reach that audience that they already have a relationship with that fits our niche. We have a 2-part campaign on this. So the first part is just inspiration, brand building, pretty pool shots, cocktails at sunset, palm trees, all that good stuff. And then we are retargeting them, so we have multiple touch points. And that retargeting campaign is actually a deal campaign. We run deals in the summer. So after we see that people are engaging with that first campaign, we can retarget them and say, hey, by the way, if you book and come out this weekend, you get your 3rd night free or a free spa treatment, things like that. So it's very targeted.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the sequencing of ads like that. And retargeting is such a powerful tool when done effectively. So that's going to bring up this next point I want to go over, which is, we've talked about how we're reaching these new audiences, and now let's talk about ways that we can leverage our existing databases, because oftentimes going after that visitor who's already engaged with the brand is a lot more value and your dollars go a lot further that way, right? Marketing platforms today like Google and Facebook have great ways to re-engage with your current database. There's some incredibly powerful features on those platforms as well to find others in the network that are either have engaged with your brand or look really, really similar to people who are in your brand in terms of behaviors and attributes and psychographics and demographics. So, Katie, to you, what are some tactics that you're using then to really re-engage your existing audience, and really getting in front of or staying top of mind with people who have already shown some interest in your guys' brand?
So I said earlier to pixel everything. I think you should retarget as much as possible on any platform that allows you to do that. TripAdvisor, for instance, is one that allows you to do retargeting. So I think, on Facebook, the custom audience and lookalikes, I think
really
that's
powerful.
Yeah, you can pixel your site, and so that you know that they came to your site, or you can, upload email lists, so you can either find them or find lookalikes on them. So I feel like there's so many ways that you can really kind of define that and engage with people that either have engaged with you previously or someone that's very similar to them as a visitor or person.
it's incredibly powerful. Marissa, you guys using anything like that in Palm Springs then?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, with that summer campaign, we'll be doing retargeting, and from that retargeting, I think where it gets really powerful is then we'll create the lookalike audiences like Katie mentioned, because the thing is, every single DMO that's watching this, we can all go into our Facebook business managers right now and go target people in Los Angeles that like health and wellness. We can all go compete against each other all day and not get anywhere. But with a lookalike audience, now I can find new people who are very likely to engage with my brand based off of behaviors that other audiences have already completed. And that lookalike audience is unique to me. No other DMO can get that lookalike audience because it's based off of behaviors on my website. So if you're not doing lookalike audiences yet, I would encourage you to take a look at your targeting strategy and start incorporating that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think leveraging your current databases, especially with the power of the CRM, the power that you have of collecting those emails along the way, it's a really, really powerful way to do it. So the last thing I want to kind of get into today is talking about this approach of, we all know mobile's grown tremendously. We all know that we're starting to hear a lot more lately, especially with Google. I just got back from Marketing Live. They talked still ad nauseum about these micro moments, right? They've probably said that to the point where, I want to vomit at this point, right? So with all this information that marketers have about their audiences and with AI, consumers are still expecting a lot of that personalized content. And more they're doing this and consuming this content on mobile devices. For example, eMarketer has a stat that I just saw recently that people are spending an average of 3 hours and 35 minutes per day on their mobile devices, and that was in 2018. This year, by the end of this year, mobile will surpass television and become the medium receiving the most attention by U.S. consumers. So that is incredible to really take in. And so we are turning to our mobile devices now more than ever. They're not just for time and weather and alarms anymore, right? We're looking for immediate answers. So one thing I wanted to ask about this kind of always-on approach and this mobile approach, Marissa, I'm going to start with you actually this time. What are some things that you guys are doing in Palm Springs, or even things you have done in the past, to provide a more personalized content experience for your audience during these kind of always-on moments?
Sure. So we're very lucky that we have an in-house brand team that creates some amazing video series. So we actually have 4 video series. One is our Wanderlust series that's very hidden moments, off the beaten path sort of things that she covers. And these are all longer form on YouTube and then cut down for Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We also have a Chill Chaser series that's a little more on the beaten path sort of stories. And then we do specific content pieces on food. We highlight our local chefs as well as local cocktails. So all of those, again, tie back to what we've been talking about, all that data. That all ties back to our DDP and where we see we need to be focusing, but now we're meeting people where we see they are, which is on mobile and on social with shorter videos.
Yeah, I would encourage you, if you want to see a destination that's really crushing it on video, I would highly encourage you to check out what Palm Springs is doing on that side. They do some really, really good stuff with video, so hats off there. Katie, on your side of the fence, what are you guys doing?
All right, so we just launched a new site, thanks Simpleview, at the end of April. Check it out, visit austin.org and let me know what you think. It's got a mobile-first design, so obviously thinking about mobile is very important. That's mobile, and then we also do personalized content on our site, targeting geo, language. If they're coming from an ad, we can show them something different that either looks like the ad or something really specific content because they came from that ad. So we're doing a lot of the kind of personalized on the site, and I feel like we could be doing even more and more of that over time.
Yeah, and there's enough platforms to do more and more over time, right? I mean, have you guys ever used Pixels? No, I'm just kidding. In doing that, it's that multi-channel approach, right? I think the more you can cast your net out there to see what's out there, it's always good to spend the vast majority of our budget on things that we know are going to work pretty well. We should always have some of our budget, though, trying out some of these new things to see what's out there that then become some of our core marketing strategies and some of our marketing platforms. So good stuff there. So I think at this point, I'd like to really turn it over to the audience now and anyone that's here and see if they have any questions that they want to ask of Katie and Marissa while you have them here, or of us and our team. So are there any questions out there? Anybody?
Yeah.
Yes, right here.
Front.
Do you want me to use this? Yeah.
Please.
What do you think the main driver is for each of your communities in the platforms that you're using in digital to market to those groups?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
That is a thinker. You mean drivers to the channel or drivers to the destination? So I think for us, the way that we use our channels, again, ties back to our DDP because we did so much research up front. We didn't just say, hey, we have events that are concerts, so we should focus on arts and culture or signature events. We saw the research that showed that those were the drivers. So what we're doing to attract more visitation all ties back to what we've seen has already worked. It's almost like look-alike audiences, but in real life. Right. So it all ties back to our DDP.
I don't think I have like one answer for that because I feel like it depends on if we're talking international. Are we talking about live music is our live music capital of the world is our brand, so obviously music is part of everything that we do. But then we did have done research to show other kind of themes like food and outdoors and all of that. So I feel like showcasing those in the right audiences for what we want our visitor, what our visitor is consuming. If that answers the question, I don't know. It's a hard question.
It is.
I don't know if I have one answer.
Maybe during beers downstairs later. Yeah, right? There you go. Any other questions for us at all? Okay. Yeah. You got one more over here?
I'm just gonna hang it.
Getting your steps in, Sandy.
Keep it moving, Sandy.
Yeah, that's what smart kids do. Does your destination have partners that are not very well versed or
Good question.
well versed at all in the digital space? How do you sell your vision and kind of your goals and the things that you're doing to them to get them on board?
It's maybe more the board or like stakeholders that are vocal. Is that kind of who you're thinking of? Yeah. I think that and we do have a lot of savvy businesses. At least they know what the trends are usually, but they need our help with some of those either like best practices or current trends that we can help them with. So it's like that marketing expertise. We've been trying to do more either open houses. We did an open house where all the partners came in and talked about what was new at their attraction, et cetera. But then we also talked about some of the things we were working on. And then at the board, we're usually talking about some of the things that we're doing that are a little bit more innovative for them to understand it. So at least the interest is there, but they sometimes need that marketing expertise and those resources like the assets, video, photos from us in order to implement it.
I think for us, I have two answers to this. First one is that when we collect all of this data, we don't keep it to ourselves. We make sure almost to overshare with our board and our partners, because once they started seeing the success, the buy-in naturally comes with that. If they see that we have all the data and everything is data driven and it's all working, then the buy-in comes. We've also on the partner level this year launched an education series. So every other month we're doing education on the marketing side. So we have a social media one coming up in July. We'll do a digital one in the fall. It helps engage the partners and lets us answer some of their biggest questions, which again helps with them understanding what we're doing on the DMO side and getting that buy-in.
Yes. All right. Any other questions? Good questions too, by the way. Those are really, really good. In the back.
Given that collecting all this data is such a huge undertaking and then making sense of it is probably an even bigger undertaking, how often are you doing these studies? How often do you revisit the results? Like, what are your best practices around that?
So the ones that I referenced are actually more of a dashboard situation where I can go in every day and look at it. So it's not necessarily like a pull research. It's I can get kind of tips from them on what I'm seeing or like if I'm not navigating to the right place to find it. But I'm able to go in myself to both of those platforms to see how they're working on my side. In terms of your other research.
Yeah, I think for the big like visitor intercept studies that we do, those obviously are at least a few years in between, but also for the digital data that we're working with every day, those really are updated in real time on dashboards that we're looking at. The problem that we have is that you can get so much data that you kind of run into a data paralysis situation where you could go too far down the rabbit hole and now it's diminishing returns. Like how much data do you need? So it is a balancing act. It's tough as we're all expected to do more with less. But at this point, again, there's so much data out there and all your competitors are using it. They have access to it. It has to be prioritized in 2019.
Yeah, good question. Got maybe time for one more? Yes, right here in the front. Sandy's coming right over.
Palm Springs, I heard you mention your content team, and video is huge right now. Content is king, and I know that's the very high level when you're looking at marketing. It's your inspiration phase. So how are you proving ROI on social media for your team?
That's a great question. We do a lot on social, and our KPIs have evolved from vanity metrics where, up until a couple years ago, it really was all about how big is your audience. Now we're moving more into an engagement model because it's got to be quality over quantity. So we're looking at engagement with things like video. We're looking at, are they completing videos? Are we retaining them? Are they going to the website? Are they converting either by clicking off to a partner website? Are they booking? We have a booking engine on our website so we can track to see if they're actually making a reservation. But we're looking further down the funnel than just followers and likes,
Right.
because we've got to focus on engagement.
I have one tear of pride running down my
Same.
face right now. I'm
Same.
all, that's great to hear. That's good, good. All right, shameless plug time. If you have not done so already, please, we would love for you to subscribe to the Layover on our YouTube channel for our e-newsletter. Please, each and every week, we love the feedback as well. Again, this is for you. So if we love to hear from you, we love to hear comments each and every week. We have a contest going right now. If you subscribe, meet our team down in the Layover Lounge, and you have a chance to win a really nice prize. So please do so if you haven't done so already. Other than that, thank you to Katie and to Marissa, and Stoltz, you too.
Ah, thanks, Jason.
All right, for stopping by each and every week, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.